There you go. All right, we are live on YouTube now.
Oh, far out. That's good. And I'm alive, so it's all good. I'm actually alive. God willing.
So, this is the Wonderful World of Odyssey podcast with your host, me,
Yeah,
co-host.
you. Co-host you. That's why I see two of you, right?
Yep, we have more people, but they're busy with kids tonight.
All right. So how can you be in two places at once when you're not anywhere at all? That's my question.
Ah, tricky.
Well, you're probably not a Firesign Theater fan, are you? No, right? You don't know what
I
it is.
never heard of Firesign Theater.
Okay. Well, I'm a founding member of the Firesign Theater, which is a four-man satirical recording group. We're known as the Monty Python of America, and we were there before the boys were in the 60s, the late 60s. We did, I'd say over 25 records. Remember those? It was a vinyl thing that you turn over. All right. And we've been nominated for 3 Grammys for Best Comedy Album over the years. And
Yay!
yeah, wonderful 50-year career still going on. And that's part of my other life. But it was through that I did all these many, 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 many voices. Okay. And that's kind of how I got involved in Adventures in Odyssey, because one of the writers was a Firesign Theater fan. And when I auditioned for a role, they said, "Is that Phil Proctor of the Firesign Theater?" And they said, "Yes." He said, "Oh, hire him." So, and that was like, I don't know, 20 years ago or something. So I've had a wonderful run. Now, tell me a little bit about your show so I know how I can best respond to you.
Well, I have a question for you from a fan.
Oh, good. Okay. I have a fan.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, this is exciting. Okay. I'm ready.
Do you enjoy doing the voice of the officer?
Detective Polehouse.
Yeah.
I'm not an officer. I'm a detective. I'm the head of the department, you silly person. Yes. I love that role. And before that, I played uh, many other different parts, including uh, uh, I can't remember the lead name now, but anyway, I played many parts, and finally they found this role for me, and I just love it. I've been nominated for a couple of awards for doing it, and that makes me very happy. And I know that it's great to be a part of the town of Odyssey, which I really am in this character. So not only do I get to respond to the adventures that occur, and believe me, they are, as you may know if you followed the show, if you're a fan of it, they're wild. They're
Hmm.
so inventive. They go so sometimes it involves spies, and mysteries, and oh my God, it's wonderful. But at the same time, I have a personal life. I have a granddaughter, and so there are shows where I relate to my granddaughter, and I think that one of the reasons I love this show so much is it's obviously teaching Christian family values, which I was raised with in Goshen, Indiana, but it also emphasizes the the fact that people are living their own lives, their own professional lives. Oh my God, I'm getting a call from my co-host. Let me see. Well, I'm going to tell him I'm doing an interview. Hold on. All right, Ted, I'm doing a live podcast interview right now. I'll call you back when it's over. Okay. All right. Bye. I do a live radio show with my friend Ted Bonnet, on KPFK, which is a listener supported radio station in Los Angeles, where the Firesign Theater actually began broadcasting back in
Oh,
1964, 65, something like that. I was 24 years old, and had just
wow.
just come out from New York, uh, and I was hanging out with Peter Fonda of all people. Oh, it's a long story. If you really want to know my story, you can get my book, Where's My Fortune Cookie, on Amazon. And it's called Where's My Fortune Cookie because I and my partner from the Firesign Theater, Peter Bergman, were touring the country as Proctor and Bergman. And we did a performance in San Francisco. And after the show was over, we ended up in a very famous Chinese restaurant called the Golden Dragon. And as I was bending over to have my second cup of soup, three Chinese gang members came in with a machine gun, a shotgun, and a pistol and shot up the place, killing five people and wounding 11. There was the Joe Fong gang, and they were trying to retaliate for the loss of one of their members by the Hua Qing, the young Chinese who were trying to take over the rackets in Chinatown, and they didn't get any of them. They were sitting behind us, in a booth. My God. And all the people that they killed were innocent people. And because of that, the Chinese community squealed on them, which they never did because they didn't want to get involved in these potential dangerous situations. And all of those guys are behind bars now. But it was an amazing event. That morning, I learned that my wife, my then wife, my Norwegian wife, was pregnant with my now 47-year-old daughter. All right. That morning, I learned that she was pregnant. And that evening, I'm lying under a table in this restaurant with people being killed around me. Okay. And, and the really ironic thing about it was that right after the shooting stopped, in came a cameraman and a lighting man, and they filmed the scene and ran out. And I thought, what the heck? This is so surreal. What? And the next thing I knew, the place was crowded with first responders, and they saved. That's why only five people died because they saved all these lives. Why? Why did this happen? Because the Symbionese Liberation Army had phoned in a phony bomb threat in the downtown area in San Francisco. And so all of the emergency vehicles and the police and the news people were in that area and they heard the gunshots. And that's why so many people were saved. And the really ironic thing about it is a friend of mine named Sharon predicted the entire event to me when I was with her about a month before it happened. And she said, Philip, I hate to tell you bad news, but you and Peter are going to be involved in a shooting. It will happen after you perform, and people will be killed and wounded around you. It'll be a war between foreigners, and you and Peter will survive unscathed, which we did. All right.
Right.
So put that in your Christian hat and smoke it. Isn't that
I got
wonderful?
another question for you.
Yeah.
So one of the people that asked me was, were you ever in Toy Story 2, the Disney movie?
Oh, yeah. I did voices for Pixar and Disney movies, starting with Beauty and the Beast. And I did Toy Story 1. I did A Bug's Life. I was part of the Grasshopper Gang. I did Toy Story 1 or 2. I'm best known as the voice of Planet Pizza or Pizza Planet, whatever they call it, in that one. I did, I'm the seahorse dad in Finding Nemo. I am Charlie, the manager of the monster that gets a sock on his back in Monsters Incorporated. And I call in the right. I call in the SWAT squad. We got 9312 or whatever the heck it is. And the last Pixar thing that I did was Inside Out, where I played various voices in her.
Were you the anger guy?
No, unfortunately, I didn't have a major role in that. Although I played various characters and other things. I'm an elephant in Tarzan, for instance. I mean, it's just crazy. But I did hundreds of voices for television and movies over a 40-year period in Los Angeles, in Hollywood. So you've heard my voice many times. But the thing I'm best known for is Howard in the Rugrats. Okay, now give me a second. I'll give you a little show and tell. So talk among yourselves. Be right back.
Hi, Bree.
Okay,
Hi.
hold on.
You have any questions for him?
Oh, come on.
It would be what's his favorite Odyssey episode and what's his favorite Odyssey quote.
Oh God. Hold on. Oh, I'm trying to find this. Trying to find this for you. There it is. Okay. All right, I found it. Hold on. I heard the question, but I just wanted to show you. Okay. Howard. Howard on the Rugrats. Okay. That's me. And that's probably what I'm best known for because I get fan mail from China about that. Now, as to my favorite episode, I think, although I can't be really specific about it, I think it was one in which it was with my granddaughter, and I can't remember all the details of it, but I remember it was very heartwarming. And as I started to tell you, Charles, it has to do with a balance between my work as a detective and my love of family, my connection to family.
One last treasure hunt.
It was yes, that's right. That's right.
I just listened to it today.
Yeah, great. I'm glad you remembered the name of it. Yeah, but I enjoy every time I get to go into the studio. It's called Salami Studios, where we record these things, and I reconnect with all the sweet, lovely people that I've been working with for decades, and we get a new adventure and a new script. I'm just so happy. It is such a unique opportunity to be able to do a wonderful radio piece that reaches all over the world and has such fine values to it. So I really couldn't be happier. Every
Are you
time,
going on radio tonight after our interview?
tonight I'm on vacation in Boynton Beach, Florida, right now, having just returned from a musical cruise to Key West, Belize, and Cozumel called the Big Easy Cruise, which was honoring the victims of the New Orleans terrorist event, okay, by coincidence, mind you, and consisted of wonderful, wonderful, wonderful performers like the Blind Boys of Alabama and Shorty what was his name? Trombone Shorty and St. Paul and the Broken Bones and many, many artists that I had never really known before. I have a girlfriend. I lost my wife recently, about a year and a half ago. My darling Melinda Peterson, 33 years together. We wrote together, we acted together, we traveled together, we laughed together, we performed together. And she was a diabetic, and finally it killed her. But I have a new friend who is an ex disc jockey, loves music, and she was the one who took me on this cruise. And I'm in her condo in Boynton Beach right now. We're going to be driving up to Lewis, Delaware, which is where her main house is, and we're going to be watching the horrendous the inauguration of the dictator, the erection, I call it. We'll be watching the erection, and as a political satirist, I am, of course, both horrified and fascinated by what's going to happen to our poor country. But I don't want to get into all of that right now. If anything, let's say I hope that God treats us well, and whatever lesson the universe is teaching us, I hope we all learn it. Anyway,
And don't die.
yeah. Anyway, we all hope that it's going to be okay. But even if it isn't, that's the nature of our experience on this earth.
And this will be our last interview.
Yeah, no. We will. So you're not doing anything controversial. You're not political, and after all, we are entering into a Christian national country. We are now going to be part of a Christian national country, and I only hope that the family values of Odyssey are the values that reign. All right, during this new administration.
I hope Odyssey doesn't go political.
Yeah, I wrote decades ago. I wrote that politics was going to be the death of the nation because it divides us, and we are all God's creatures, So it's ridiculous that we should be divided like this. But then religion has divided us because people who believe in the same Almighty Spirit believe that they have the major communication to our deity and nobody else has, and if you're not a member of their club you don't deserve to live. It's crazy. This is crazy. We all really are part of God's world, and if we just could embrace that as humanity, we'd be really well off, and the planet would evolve together to some extraordinary places. But such is not the nature of our lesson on this planet. And
Can
so,
you name the people behind me on my poster?
well, my eyes are very bad. It looks like, is it the Beatles? I
No,
can't
that's
see.
Adventures in Odyssey.
Oh, it's Adventures in Odyssey. Oh, that's great. You have to send me a picture of that. I unfortunately am suffering from macular degeneration. I'm 84 years old, and this is very common among older people. One of the joys of a long life is that you begin to lose your eyesight and your hearing. Hooray! Thank you, God. But I guess I think that God is getting us ready for the transition where we will be renewed to our whole beautiful spiritual selves.
And we'll get to meet in heaven too. So
And we shall meet in heaven. I don't. Will you have a podcast in heaven? I'm not exactly sure.
that'll be awesome.
Yeah, it could be awesome, of course.
We can interview God.
Yeah. So anyway, uh, well, I've lost my train of thought. The train has left the station, but you get the general drift. I'm a very spiritual person. I do not belong to an organized religion because I always felt I was raised. Well, let me put it this way: I am of Irish and Amish ancestry. Okay, you can read about it in my book. Where's my fortune cookie? Or
Just about to ask you what your book was called again.
where's my fortune cookie? Or you can read about it in a book called Rosanna of the Amish, written by my great uncle Joseph Yoder, about my ancestors. An Irish Catholic, a little Irish Catholic girl, was raised by the Amish, orphaned and raised by the Amish in Pennsylvania, and married into the Amish community. A little Irish Catholic girl married into the Amish community back in the turn of the 19th century. Is that right? 1800s, which was unheard of at the time. And so it's a very, very famous story about this beloved union. And they had 5 boys. One of those boys was my great grandfather, and my and they settled in Goshen, Indiana, where I come from. If you move the letters of Goshen around, it spells he's gone. Now, but Goshen still still lives in my heart, and I still have some relatives there, and I still have some Yoder relatives in Pennsylvania. Yoder, which is a very common Amish name, comes from the Schweizerdeutsch, the Swiss German name Jotter, Jotter. Amish comes from Ammon, Jacob Ammon, who is the founder of this Anabaptist religion, along with a fellow named Menon, who created the Mennonites, who are a less orthodox branch of the Amish. All right. Uh, anyway, I can tell you much more about it, but again, it's all about family, which is again why I'm so delighted to still be involved in the Adventures in Odyssey program, because to me, it's all about the value of family and community. I come from a small town. I come from Odyssey. There were like 35,000 people in Goshen, Indiana. Still are. So, and I come from also a family of many, many cousins and nephews. So I grew up in a cooperative, farm oriented, although we weren't farmers, but a farm oriented community. We grew all of our own food, or not all, but most of our own food in our own backyard. And I remember one Thanksgiving, uh, I went out with some of my older cousins, and they chopped the head off the turkey and put a bowl, what do they call it? A tin laundry basket thing over the body of the turkey. And because I was like 7 years old, I got to sit on top of it while the poor creature, you know, uh, flopped his life out. And that was because to keep him from running all over the yard. And then we ate him. Okay, that's what it's all about. And we shelled the peas and we shucked the corn, and the whole family was involved in creating a Thanksgiving dinner and many other dinners as well. So even though I was not raised on a farm, I was raised with a farm sensibility, and indeed the sensibility of a small life in a small town where people looked out for one another. And those are values that have stayed with me all my life.
Now, are you looking for any sponsors at the moment?
I didn't quite understand that. Sponsors?
Yeah, sponsors.
I don't understand the question. What are you asking me?
Like, can we sponsor you and your radio?
Can you sponsor me?
Yeah,
What does that mean?
like shout you out and stuff.
Chat me out? Uh,
Yeah, like your.
this all sounds a little too complicated for me. I live a life in Los Angeles, okay, and
Ooh,
all
that's
right,
where the fires are right now.
yes, they are, and I live in a canyon. I live in Benedict Canyon, and so that does make me susceptible to fire danger because the winds howl through the canyons. In my case, however, knock on wood, my house is safe right now.
Thank
My
goodness.
Okay, and I have extended my stay on the East Coast because of the apparently the toxic smoke that people are suffering from. So I'm delaying my return to my home in California for another week. I'll be on the East Coast for another week. But I many of my friends have lost their homes. And I mean it's shocking. And I have, many friends in show business. John Goodman, the wonderful actor, is a very, very good friend of mine. He's a Firesign Theater fan. And we've worked together in various projects. And I've been in his house in the Pacific Palisades. And it's gone. His house burned down. A big star. Billy Crystal is a friend of mine. He lost his house. So even great stars have lost their houses, along with my friends who are modest actors and things like that, who've lost their houses. And it's horrendous. But I want to emphasize to people that whether you're extremely wealthy or whether you're just getting by, it's your home, right? We all live like normal people. Even if you're, you had a great success and you're well off, you live a normal life. Once you leave the sound stage or location in Yugoslavia or something, you go home. And in most instances, the homes and the people's daughters and and family and wives and everything. You have memorabilia and art in your home, and it's all gone. Everything's gone. So they suffer, as the wealthy suffer as much as the poor do when it comes to losing their homes. And reinstating and recreating your life isn't all that different because you have a lot of money. Okay, you're still starting from scratch, and everybody, yes, it's an advantage. Of course, it is, and people have worked hard to earn it, but it doesn't make it any easier to rebuild one's life. Okay, I just want to make that point. Again, we are all equal in the eyes of God.
Oh, no, Bree left.
What's that?
My
Amen. You want
co-host,
another amen?
my co-host disappeared on us.
Oh well, he wasn't saying much. He was an interesting looking little blob on the side there. Who is your co-host?
Her name is Bree.
Oh, it's a Bree. It's a person. It's a human. It's pardon me. It's a girl,
Yeah,
right? I could not tell honestly
she has
from.
camera problems.
Oh well, I'm sorry she has camera problems, but that could be worse. Okay.
She's using her phone, and I'm using my computer.
Okay, I get it. Well, you send her my love, and I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to talk with her. I heard her. She asked that question though, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Does she have any other questions that I could answer for her?
I don't think so.
So tell me a little bit about your show. Is it?
Well, we've done interviews with other characters.
Tell me
We've
who.
done we did old characters that were on the show a long time ago.
A long time
Like
ago.
like Jimmy Barkley, who played Dave Griffin,
Okay.
and Donald Long and Genesis Long, who played Lucy Cunningham Schultz and Jack Davis.
Okay. Good.
And I also had Phil Lawler on the show,
Oh, another Phil. I don't know him. Have
and
worked with
Nathan Hubler,
Nathan. Okay, Nathan Hubler is the firesign fan.
and Marshall Younger.
Oh yes, another wonderful, wonderful creator, writer, director. Wonderful.
And I think there was one more. Nathan Hubler, Marshall Younger, Bill Lawler.
Well, now I'm hard pressed to remember some of the characters and the actors who played them. Uh, can you? And I'll tell you if I've worked with them.
So Nathan Hubler,
Yeah, he's not an actor. He's one of the creators.
but he did play an angel in the scene in Odyssey.
Oh, that's right. He did. That's right. Uh, all right. Who
Oh,
played?
Bob Smithhauser. I interviewed him.
Okay. How about now this? I really should have prepared myself for this, but it was kind of a surprise. Uh, I'm trying to draw some names into my head. Here, let me cheat and see if I put Odyssey in my contacts, if it will come up for me, so I can ask you if you know these people. Here, let's just see. Odyssey. Okay. No, no, that's Iroquois. No, no, no. A D C. No, it's Issaquah. Okay, come on. This is bad eyes. O D D Y Oddie or O D D Odyssey. Yeah, a lot of people have trouble spelling that name, don't they? No, that's not going to
She's
help me.
back.
That's not going to help me at all. Uh, I just
Gotta
got
love the
serious.
snow.
This is very sad.
Oh, she's gone again.
Very sad. Bree is back.
She's gone again. She was back, but then she's gone.
No, this is not going to help me at all. Oh God. Uh, anyway, the people that I'm working with now. There you are. Hi, Bree. The people that I'm working with now. I've been with the show for like 20 years, so several of the people that I worked with have passed on. Okay, and playing major roles, and they've been replaced by other actors, especially the character Wits End, character who run two. Those are older characters, and two of them have died. But you don't know the cast. You can't mention the cast names. Come on.
Oh, I bet you I can.
All right, mention some names, and I'll tell you if I worked with them. Like,
Shona Rodman, who plays Jules Kendall.
okay, I know him. Yes, or her.
Connie Kendall.
Okay, but name the actors' names.
Katie Lee.
Katie. Yes, of course. I love Katie, and I so much fun.
Townsend Coleman.
Who?
Townsend Coleman.
Nope.
He plays Jason Whitaker, the spy.
I don't think that we had scenes together in the studio. See, I mean that after all, this show is not recorded. All right, I've been working in cartoons voiceovers for 50 years, and in some of them, like I'm in the Smurfs, I played a character named King Gerard. All right, and I had the Clockwork Smurf was I worked with. Now the way that Hanna-Barbera used to record their cartoons was that we would all sit in the studio together and we do the script like a radio show. All right. So I'm sitting with Jonathan Winters, and Alan Young and all these heroes of my youth, doing a cartoon. And then we do pickups afterwards. In the Rugrats, we'd often do our lines by ourselves in a little studio, and then they'd cut it all together into the finished product. In Adventures in Odyssey, we will do scenes with various people that we have scenes with, but we won't do the whole show. So I'm not necessarily getting to work with or to hear the performances of other performers who are not in my scenes. And that's why I know some of these folks and others not so well. Eugene, who played Eugene?
Will Ryan.
God bless his soul. Will Ryan. I first came on the show. One of the parts I was playing was his father in the backstory when his father was a missionary in Africa. All right. That was I think my first introduction. Will Ryan was not only a wonderful actor, but he was a great musician, and he played the ukulele and sang, composed his music and lyrics. He's a writer as well. He wrote cowboy poetry. He was wonderful. And he had his own group called the Dusty
The
Cowboy.
Westcott Sisters.
Yeah, yeah. And and he was a good friend for a long time because he also did other voiceover work. And then who's playing Wit now in Wit's End?
Andre Stoika.
I just worked with Andre in the last episode that I did. And Andre, I had known before because he's a well known voiceover artist, and we had done other cartoons together. So, there's this whole world that draws the actors into this particular project. And so we have a history of working together. And it makes, again, that's part of the feeling of family because the voiceover business was a family before COVID. We used to go into our various agencies, voiceover agencies. We'd sit in a little kind of green room, and then we'd go in and record our auditions in a recording booth. So we got to hang out together and get to know one another, and we worked together all the time. It was a community of talent. And when COVID hit, we couldn't do that anymore. And now all of us basically do our auditions from our home studios, whatever that means. A home studio can be, like in my case, a microphone and a computer, okay, down in my guest bedroom in Benedict Canyon, okay? And some people have actual recording studios that they do their work from. Uh, I am not that sophisticated because I don't have that many steady voiceover jobs that would require me to have a professional studio. But nonetheless, we, for the most part now, we do our auditions for video games, cartoons, radio commercials at home alone. And I've also done many jobs at home from my own home studio. So it's a new world, but we don't get to often sit in a studio with other actors and interact with them and hang out with them, and hug them. We don't get to do that. But Odyssey is one of the shows that does mainly that. I'll sometimes be in a studio doing an Odyssey show, and one actor or another actor will be recording their part from their home. Okay, and I hear them in my earphones, and they won't be in the studio. But for the most part, they try to get as many people in the studio as possible so we can have a human interaction.
Now, before we leave, is there anything you want to say to the community?
Uh, I'm very grateful for the support of the community. It was surprising to me to learn that uh, Adventures in Odyssey is geared for a younger audience because, like Rugrats, which I played Howard for 14 years, it it is both geared for a uh, adult audience and a children's audience, and I feel that Adventures in Odyssey offers the same opportunity. You can be a mature person and listen to the show and enjoy the show and get something from the show, or you can be a kid and listen to the show. And again, that's the goal of Adventures in Odyssey. It is a community oriented, family oriented show teaching good values of living. And that's why I'm pleased to be a part of it. I feel the same way about most of the cartoons that I do because they're wholesome. I know there's a lot of other cartoons that are adult oriented and they're, daring and they're edgy and they're, blasphemous in certain ways and all that. And that's fine. It's okay. But I love Odyssey because it speaks to my generation, which had a more of a communal upbringing, more of a small town upbringing. That's why I'm
Well,
so pleased to be involved with it.
thank you for your time.
My pleasure. And I'm so glad that you're doing the show. And I hope that it reaches the heart of many people and that they will tune into Odyssey or visit it online. And I can't wait to see what the next adventure for Detective Polehouse might be. I'm ready for it.
All right, thank you
Thank
for
you.
your time once again,
Thank you,
and we'll
Dave.
see you later.
All right. Love to you both. God bless you. Till the next one. All right.
Bye. Yep.
Bye.